You ever have one of those nights where everything feels off, but you can't explain why? That was last Thursday. Just me and my brother Ryan, home alone. Parents were out of town for some anniversary trip, and we were supposed to just chill. Maybe order pizza, watch dumb movies. Pretty standard. It was raining, sure, but not in a creepy story kind of way. Just the usual drizzly background noise. Nothing dramatic. What stood out was how quiet the neighborhood felt. Like unusually still. No cars, no dogs barking, not even the usual creaks from the Miller house next door. That place has been empty for years since their kid died. He was like 9 or 10, I think. Slipped in the backyard pool or something awful like that. People don't really talk about it anymore. Anyway, Ryan and I were hanging out in the living room. He was scrolling on his phone, and I was flipping through TV channels when the power blinked out for a second. Not long, just a quick flash, but enough to knock the Wi-Fi off and freeze the screen. Classic timing. So naturally, we did what bored siblings do when the internet dies. We started trying to spook each other. Ryan went first, telling this creepy story he'd heard at school about a girl who saw her reflection blink when she didn't. I rolled my eyes, told him I'd heard better. Then I told one about this boy who kept showing up in people's dreams before they died. Dumb, I know. But in the moment, it was fun. We kept trading stories back and forth, getting more ridiculous with each one. But somewhere along the way, the tone shifted. It wasn't the stories themselves, it was the timing. Like how, after Ryan finished one about hearing whispers through the walls, we both paused and kind of glanced around. It wasn't like we heard anything, but the silence suddenly felt too thick, like the kind that makes your ears ring. Then came the thump, not loud, just this soft, deliberate thump from upstairs. We both froze. We live in a 2-story house, and there was no reason for anything to be moving up there. We hadn't been up there all day. I called up, "Hello?" Because apparently I've learned nothing from horror movies. No answer. Ryan looked at me like, "Don't." But I was already halfway up the stairs. The hallway lights flickered for half a second, but nothing was there. I checked our rooms, empty, windows shut, no dripping pipes or falling books. We tried to laugh it off, went back downstairs. But something felt different, like we'd poked a hole in something we shouldn't have. A while later, we both heard it. Not a thump this time, more like dragging. Something soft, slow, and heavy sounding, from upstairs again. But the weird part, it stopped the second we stood up to listen. And that's when I saw it, just for a second. Across the hallway near the base of the stairs, a small figure, looked like a kid, standing with his back to us. His clothes looked soaked, his head was kind of tilted down. And then he was gone. Not like he ran, more like he blinked out. I didn't even say anything at first, just stood there staring. Ryan noticed and asked what was wrong, and when I described what I saw, his face just dropped. He said he thought he saw something earlier too, but didn't want to say it out loud because it didn't make sense. Said he thought he saw a little boy's face peeking around the bathroom door earlier when he was getting water. But we chalked everything up to being creeped out, until now. The dragging sound came again, closer this time, not upstairs anymore. Somewhere down the hall, near the laundry room. We both just sat there, frozen. We could hear the sound of wet footsteps now, and something faint, like a child humming. That's when it clicked for me. The Miller kid who drowned. People said he used to hum to himself while playing in the backyard. I don't know why that popped into my head, but once it did, I couldn't shake it. Ryan whispered, "Do you think we, invited something?" And honestly, I didn't know. All we did was tell stories. But maybe that's all it takes. Maybe talking about the dead does more than we think. Maybe they hear us. We didn't sleep that night. We stayed in the living room, lights on, blanket fort and all, like we were 10 again. The sounds didn't stop. Every so often we'd hear another soft thump or a faint giggle from down the hall. But we never went to look. In the morning, everything was quiet again. No puddles, no footprints, no signs of anything. Just 2 exhausted siblings sitting in silence, staring at the staircase. We haven't talked about it since, not even once. But I still hear it sometimes, at night, a soft thump, and a hum that doesn't belong to anyone in this house.